Thank you for tuning in to Shelf Addiction here on Anchor FM.
Hey everyone, this is Tamara from shelfaddiction.com. Today is Wednesday, October 3rd, and I have a really cool list for you today. 5 smart ways to read more books without getting overwhelmed. Now, I am of the school work smarter, not harder. And I know that everyone always says they want to read more books, but I'm going to tell you actually how you can do it. And that's without feeling stressed out about it. So feel free to modify or take any of these tips that you like that fits your schedule the best. It's all about your frame of mind, you know. Either you want to read more or you don't. Just make up your mind about it and do it. Either way, these tips are great ways to sneak in more books without you even having to exert more effort. So there are so many reasons to read more, but I'll save those for another time. Set yourself a goal. Let's start there. Before we jump into the countdown, I want to tell you about setting goals. Set yourself a weekly, monthly, or yearly goal, and let's get to it. So you can set the number of books you want to read per year, or month, or week. You can set the number of pages or minutes if the idea of full books are a little daunting. And you can choose goals that are attainable. So for example, if you're currently reading, let's say 5 books a year, don't commit to 52 books a year. That's kind of crazy. Let's start a little slower, and as you build up your momentum, you can change your number. So if you read like 5 or less books per year, how about we start with 12 a year? That equals 1 book a month. Make the goals like stretch goals, but you also want them reasonable so that you don't feel like you can't meet them and you give up. So with all of that said, if you want to know 5 smart ways to read more books, stay tuned. All right, everyone. Number 5. This is the easiest thing for me as a working person. And I think that anyone can use this tip regardless if you actually have a 9-to-5 or not. If you work different hours, this will work. Even if you don't work a job, this will still work. And that is read at lunchtime. So you prepare, grab your food, buy your food, whatever, find a quiet place and read while you eat every single day. If you have an hour lunch, read for 30 minutes or so. If you have 30-minute lunch, read for 15 or so. You don't have to spend your entire lunch reading, but at least half of it. That way you will always get reading in every single day. Now, as a little side note to this, it's not a separate number, but a little addition. Take your book everywhere. So if you're uncomfortable carrying a physical book, grab a super ultra light and small Kindle and keep it in your purse, or download the Kindle app or Overdrive app on your phone and read any chance you get. So if you're sitting at the doctor's office in the waiting room, waiting for a train, a bus, or a plane, read on the plane, read on a long car ride if you're the passenger, etc. You get the idea. Anytime where you're sitting idle and not doing anything, grab your Kindle. Okay, everyone, tip 4. Now, some are going to love to hear this and some are going to hate it. But turn off the TV. Turn it off an hour earlier or turn it on an hour later. So you can either read before or after you turn on the TV. So for example, if you get home and your first thing to do is turn on the TV and you know that things get hectic after you turn on the TV and you start making dinner, guess what? Read a little bit for an hour, half hour before you even turn on the television. You can always DVR things. And 9 times out of 10, when you first get home, you're not really watching TV. It's just noise. Let's keep it real. Or even if you like to watch TV early, but you watch TV all the way up until bedtime. No, turn off the TV an hour early and read. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Tip 3. Read for 30 minutes to 1 hour when you first wake up in the morning. Now, this one is not possible for a lot of people because they all get up and go to work. or school, and some people have no interest in waking up early, and that's fine. But this definitely works on the weekends for sure. No matter what time you wake up on the weekend, this will work for you. Because I know many people, when they first open their eyes, they grab their smartphone and they lay in the bed for 30 minutes to an hour watching YouTube, reading the news, being on Twitter or Facebook. Instead of using that time for social media and other things, read for 30 minutes to an hour. Split the time. If you spend 30 minutes in the bed watching YouTube videos, spend 15 of that reading a book, or extend it to an hour. It's perfect for the weekends. You lounge, you don't have to jump up, you do it anyway. Most people do it anyway, I'll say that. So use that time to read. And I do that every weekend. Sometimes I'll read for 1 to 3 hours, depending on how good the book is, and then I'll get my day going. But I'm an early riser, so sometimes it works a little better for early risers. But for those that sleep in and they like to sleep late, you can grab 15 to 30 minutes before you start your day. I know you can. Tip number 2, listen to an audiobook in the car. Now, if you've been listening to Shelf Addiction Podcast or me here on Anchor or reading my blog, then you know that I am an avid fan of audiobooks. This way you can read and listen to one book and get it done faster, or you can listen to a different book that you're reading and get twice as many books read at once. So for example, if you're going to read and listen, the Amazon Kindle has perfect options because they also mesh with Audible audiobooks. So for example, you could read book A during your lunch, and then you can finish listening to book A on your drive home. And then when you get home, you want to read a couple more minutes when you get home. And then in the morning, you can continue listening on your drive into work. It really helps speed up the pace of reading a book. So if you can switch between reading and listening, it's an excellent option. Now, if you'd rather incorporate a second book, so you read one and listen to the other, I've done that as well. So I'll be reading book A, manually with a Kindle or whatnot, and then I'll be listening to book B. Now, the key to that is, I find personally, select 2 different types of genres. So should you choose to, read a fantasy, maybe I would listen to a romance or vice versa, or listen to something nonfiction. Personally, I find that audiobooks are great for things that sometimes have a little bit of drier subject matter, like business books or technical books or nonfiction in general. So if you don't want to listen to fiction, you can listen to nonfiction. It's great. I especially find memoirs read by the author on audiobook spectacular, because then you can hear the author's intent behind the words. A couple great examples of this, and I recommend them both, is Bossy Pants by Tina Fey and Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. They are amazing. Now, if you want to dip your toe into the fiction pool, contact me. I have tons of recommendations. Just let me know what you like to read. So again, tip number 2 is listen to an audiobook in the car. My last and final tip is also tied in with audiobooks. So I want to expand upon tip number 2 and tell you to listen to audiobooks anytime you are doing a mundane task. So while you are doing things like cooking dinner, shopping, running errands, answering emails, things that are pretty much, you don't need to use too much brain power to get them done, pop in the audiobook, keep it on your phone. That's what I do. I have it on my phone, and then I can, listen via my Amazon Echo or other device at home. You can listen at any time. And it's great because, again, you can use the same philosophy as in tip 2, so you can listen to the same book you're reading or listen to a different book. And this, I promise you, once you incorporate audiobooks, if you've not been an audiobook listener before, you need to start. You can get them from your library for free. You can download them for free from your your library's audio library. If you want tips on how to do that, how to use Overdrive, let me know, and I will do a podcast for you on how to download books and ebooks from your library. Because everyone needs to know that. If you don't want to spend money on a membership, you can get them for free. But audiobooks will increase your reading, in addition to the other tips that I listed regarding reading time. So it's all about setting your expectation, setting your goals, and going forward. So again, tip number 1 is listen to audiobooks whenever you can, whenever you're doing mundane tasks that don't exert much effort. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed my top 5 easy ways to read more books without any additional stress or being overwhelmed. If you have any suggestions of your own, feel free to call in or send me a tweet. I would love to hear what you have to say.
Thank you for tuning in to Shelf Addiction here on Anchor FM.
The audio you just heard was recorded in Anchor. Learn more at anchor.fm.